Well, hello, fifth and sixth graders. It is Thursday and almost the end of the week here. But for our history today, we have 2 pages to read and 3 sections or 2 sections to do in your work text. And let's look at that first. So in your work text, on page number 31 again, where you were yesterday, it has the second 2 sections, which is about the Hittite Empire and the Assyrian Empire. And these are things you're looking for. They give you the capital of the Hittite Empire, and they want to the main leader. And basically, there's two statements there about what the Hittites were well known for, at least in that time, from what we know today. The second one, the Assyrian Empire, is going to be a lot larger of an empire. In fact, this is the empire that basically leads to Bible times, or what we know of in the Bible, because Assyria is the one that overtakes the northern kingdom of Israel. And so this one is looking for its capital. They give you the main leaders. And remember, it does say leader or leaders. And so there could be more than one answer in those. So if you forgot yesterday, the Amorite actually had 2 leaders in it. And so you want to make sure you go back and get that. Anyway, so we're talking about the Assyrians spread some elements or blank elements of the blank and civilizations throughout the whatever world. One of the first blank was in Nineveh. And then the Assyrian, of course, you guys have heard of Nineveh in the Bible, and that's having to do with Jonah in particular. That was the one of the primary places, but it does talk about Nineveh and other places as well. But the Assyrian something was equipped with some kind of weapon. God described Assyria as a blank and a blank in his blank that he would use to punish somebody else. Okay, and so he used Assyria to punish somebody. God showed something to the ruthless blank by sending blank to preach blank. And we probably can figure that one out. That has to do with Jonah there. And so you'll see a statement in there. And then the people repented, but they eventually returned to their, I'm going to guess, wicked ways. And God saved them, or God punished them or destroyed them or something to that effect. Because after they returned to their wicked ways, God would not save them. He would have punished them. So you want to go back and get those correct words. I give you an idea there of what they're like. So let's go ahead and do our reading then. Follow along, and remember, there'll be a word in here somewhere that you'll need to be able to write down. And so when you do that, I'll check those tomorrow as far as having the right words. And that means on Monday, when I give you Friday's assignment, then you'll need to know the word from Friday. You'll have to show me on Monday with your syllabus, which means you keep your syllabus over the weekend for that at least. All right, so here we go. Hittite Empire. The Hittites were descendants of Heth, the grandson of Ham, and great-grandson of Noah. For a time, many historians did not think they existed. The Old Testament was the only source of information about these people until archaeological discoveries in the early 1900s confirmed their existence. The Hittites began to settle in Asia Minor about 2000 BC. Asia Minor is the peninsula between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea in what is now Turkey. The Hittites were not ruled by priests or gods as the Sumerians were. The Hittites had a king who was the commander of the army. His power depended upon the chief warriors. The Hittites excelled in the production of iron, and you remember that from your worksheet. They made the strongest weapons of the time and skillfully used horse-drawn chariots. The Hittites extended their empires throughout Asia Minor, the Fertile Crescent region, and into Mesopotamia. Soon after, they took control of the Amorite capital of Babylon. Other nations invaded the Hittite territory, and the rule of the Hittites ended. Okay, so you have, you have that empire. Now you've got the Assyrian Empire. The Assyrians created the largest empire the world had seen up to that point. For centuries, they've lived in northern Mesopotamia.
Okay. I found this on the web for create the largest empire in the world. Has seen.
Nope, I don't want to do that. Siri is trying to get involved in the lesson this morning. And so the Assyrians adopted, back to where I was. By 750 BC, they had built an empire that included the Fertile Crescent, Egypt, and part of Asia Minor. That's a pretty big area. In fact, if you look on that map at the bottom of the page, that area where the Hittite Empire is, and you go to the next page, and you see how vast their empire was, and it really about tripled the size of what the Hittite Empire was. It says that Nineveh, a city built earlier by Nimrod, became the capital city of the empire. So there you have The capital of that city that was built by Nimrod earlier became that capital of the Assyrian Empire. The Assyrians adopted God's language, art, architecture, sciences, and literature from the Sumerian and Amorite civilizations. The Assyrians spread these cultural elements throughout the ancient world by their military invasions. One of the first libraries was in Nineveh. Modern historians have learned much about ancient civilizations from this library. Next page. All right, these are the only 2 pages we're reading today. The Assyrian military was unmatched by any other civilization of the day. The Assyrian army was equipped with iron weapons, siege towers, battering rams, and war chariots. It included foot soldiers, spearmen, archers, and a cavalry. The Assyrians earned a reputation for fierceness. They terrorized the nations by making threats of destruction. They looted villages and burned crops. If the people resisted, the Assyrians sent in their forces. Soldiers tunneled under city walls or climbed over them on ladders. They used battering rams to knock down city gates. They removed the conquered people from their own lands and settled them in foreign countries. The Assyrian Empire stretched from the Persian Gulf to the Nile River in Egypt. The kings chose officials to govern political areas called provinces. Each official collected taxes and enforced laws. Roads were built to join parts of the empire. Soldiers were posted to protect travelers from thieves. God used the Assyrians to chasten his disobedient people. In Isaiah 10:5-6, God described Assyria as a rod and staff in his hand that he would use to punish Israel. In 722 BC, the Assyrian army took captive the 10 northern tribes of Israel. The Assyrians did not acknowledge God and were not aware of his workings. Try to do it again. Although the Assyrians were among the most ruthless people of the ancient world, God showed mercy on them. He sent Jonah to Nineveh to preach repentance. Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. As the people of this city turned from their evil way, God mercifully turned away his wrath. The people of Nineveh, however, eventually returned to their wicked ways, and God judged them. In 612 BC, the Chaldeans and the Medes destroyed Nineveh, bringing the Assyrian Empire to an end. For those of you that have watched this entire video, to write on your booklet, what you'll need to do is you'll need to tell me who it is that interrupted while I was doing my video. Who it was that interrupted while doing my video. All right, that's it for today. Have a wonderful day. Bye.